right. Excuse me. All right, folks. So today I'm gonna prep the toolpaths, and later on I'm gonna try and cut the playfield. I'm gonna try and stream the whole thing. But I think I found a computer I can set up down in the garage to do that. We'll see. We'll see. But at least to start, I need to prep the toolpaths. I did realize there was one more thing I needed to do before I did that, though. Um, you look right over here. This slingshot can't actually fit through this hole. So I need to adjust this hole so the slingshot can fit through it. I'm gonna do that as a separate operation because the next version of this slingshot may actually not need this big chunky thing there, because it's eventually gonna go straight through and become part of like a flipping or a flipper toy thing or fine flipper thing. But at least for now, I'm gonna make it wide enough to fit this design through. So let's sketch. This is going to be basically a slightly larger square here. And I'm going to make sure it's kind of centered in the thing and, make it clean. Also going to make it a little bit deeper back. That way it can slide in on the back and come forward more. So let's make this distance 3/4 of an inch. It's going to be oh, I didn't select this point, and it's select this thing. It's going to be perpendicular, and then this not going to be like that. This is perpendicular to. Perpendicular. Why would a valid geometry? This will perfectly fine for this line and this line. It can become perpendicular for these. All right, so now that's that. Now that's centered. This center here can be 0.75 also, so it can be equal. That'll be plenty big enough for this to get up and in. It actually doesn't need to be 0.75 that far. Probably just 5/8, because I think let's make sure this is mid also. Now, why are you still? Oh, right. This is gonna be about 1/8 because I want it further back. The wood block doesn't stop the thing. The metal on the inside of this should. So I can make it kind of come in further back and slide forward, which is fine. That'll be fine. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is just add these curves. And again, this sketch is probably going to be a throwaway sketch ultimately once the final designs are in. Cool. All right. So now this block should be able to slide in. Let me do a quick measurement. Make sure from this back of this point to the front of this point is a little more than half an inch, so it will fit in there fine. And then obviously width-wise, it'll be fine. Okay. It doesn't even need to be that wide, to be honest. That 3/4 of an inch. So 5/8 by 5/8 is probably fine. You know, just big enough to slide the thing in, but not so big that it'll flop all over the place. You know, just for posterity. I think I can add a fillet here, so it won't have a binding point. Yeah. That way it's less likely to get bound on that if for whatever reason it shimmies. The metal block is small enough so it shouldn't. The metal block is definitely smaller than this, but just in case. And I suppose in reality that whole slide up piece should be a lot further in the back. But whatever. Okay, so this is going to be good enough for the test. Yeah, because this needs to be removable. And if I put it too far back, you won't be able to remove this without pulling this. Yeah, alright, that's alright, so that's the playfield. And next step, let's do toolpaths, or get it prepped so I can start doing toolpaths. That will be here and here. And so I have the top sketch of the playfield, that section that I just modified. No, don't command window, don't do this section down here got modified. My new changes. That's good. So let's save this. As a DXF. So this is becoming DXF on here. And I'm also going to save this as a PDF so I can easily print it if I want to print it. And then let's just save this as per normal. Okay. That's that. So now if I open up the PDF, so here's like the 2D PDF of this thing, right? This is what I'm gonna more or less be working with. But I make I start all my toolpaths in Inkscape because Inkscape is a good vector program that it's a good vector program to make all the broken line segments in a DXF into a nice solid. I'll take the DXF, I'll drag it in, say okay. Now, this version of Inkscape kind of fucks the lines up. So if I go into stroke style and change it to hairline, it fixes it. There's the playfield. Orient this down here. Or for whatever reason, Inkscape is upper left hand 0 rather than lower left. But I mean, it's a drawing program, so a lot of them are. But whenever you scale the canvas, it scales up instead of scaling down, which I think in older versions scaled down, so I don't know. All right, this needs to be 23 by 46. And that covers the playfield pretty well. The playfields I make are typically 43 inches deep, not 45 or whatever. So having a 46 canvas is fine. All right. Now some of these things, let's break all this apart. Ungroup. Yay. Some of these things I'm not going to be dealing with right now. So, for instance, I'm not going to deal with these insert holes here. I'm not going to deal with these GI holes right now. There's just no need for them. There's no need for it right now. Stop double clicking. God damn it. Really? I think I need a new stylus because I think this thing, it's not the nib getting worn out. I think the stylus spring inside is just getting worn out at this point. This is like a 10 or 15-year-old Wacom stylus. Oh. But I think that's what a lot of my problems are. The thing just double clicks more than I want it to. Okay. These insert holes. And this thing I don't need because I cut it with a separate toolpath. All of those I want. Everything up here, I believe I want. Yeah, all right. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tool path for what I call big holes, because the very first pass I like to do are all the oversized holes that could flop out. I don't typically put tabs in my playfield holes because I don't want to have to clean up all the teeny tiny little spots in the playfield. And my CNC machine isn't fast enough to just mill everything out. So I typically I just do regular perimeter cuts on a bunch of these. So the larger the hole, the kind of more sketchy it is, because the thing could flop and pop up because of air pressure and screw up the cut. So anything that is a largish hole, I tend to want to do in its own pass. And that's mostly these through holes and a couple device holes. Like this is the pumpkin hole right here. These are just a bunch of through holes for connectors and things that I may or may not need. Obviously the trough is a gigantic hole that needs to be, or is a pair of gigantic holes. So I need to make sure to add this to the. I've had the trough pop up quite a bit in the past, so that's why I do this. I'm gonna let's pass. Fine. And now I can. Oh, my hand is already acting up. I also want to grab these little whatchamacallit through holes. The metal ramp through holes that I have on the left orbit and the in lane. These also are large enough that they could become problems. Fine. And add it to this. Fine. That wasn't part of the large hole. F. Hey, what's going on down here, though? Oh, it's there. Okay. You just give me a rendering glitch. Okay. Now that I have this, I'm going to grab all these vertices. I'm going to merge them. And then merge them. And then I'm going to change the stroke so there's no stroke. Fill. I'm going to make them all black because it's through hole. And these are all the overly large device holes. Now, I'm not considering the target holes or the main slingshot holes large holes because really they're not they're not that big of a problem. I do need to add this hole and this hole though. I think those would be problems. What else am I missing? Okay, those fine. So those vertices are already all attached, I think. Okay, so this is a large hole. Through hole large. I can hide this. Next, what do I want to do next? I could do the. Oh, are those ramp pads gonna cause problems? Those ramp pads cause problems. Oh man. So these ramp pads here that have a weird convexness to it. Convexness. Might cause a problem. All right, I'm gonna do those. Make these separate. I might need to do those in 2 passes. Combine these together. Make the vertices 1 to 1. And I'm going to call this ramp foot add, maybe, because I think these might actually cause some problems. The free tools I use, come on. The free tools I use are not the best in some situations, but they're free, so, you know, take and choose your poisons, I suppose. So the fill is I'm gonna make this fill, greenish. And I'm gonna get rid of the stroke. All right, and then these other ramp pads should be perfectly fine, so I can just grab them all. Now the ramp pads and the dimples are all the same depth, about 1/16 inch. However, I am going to have them as 2 separate groupings, just for my own sanity, in case I need to change something related specifically to the ramp pads versus the dimples. It's less of an issue right now because everything's all kind of merged, or everything's all kind of white woody and not great, or not perfect. But the when I cut the inserts, it's going to be a lot more vital for me to group inserts and like groups, so I can start and stop the tool head and re-zero it at certain spots. And when I get to that point in a few months, probably in July, you'll see what I'm doing. For now, all these can be somewhat more in line with stuff. All right, so that's all the ramp footprints path. Fine. Merge all these vertices together. I'm going to call this ramp foot good. Because I know all these are going to be. For that, make the stroke, and I'm going to make the stroke a little darker, just so it differentiates from the bad and the good. You can see the two color differences there. I should get rid of all the dimply things now. That's everything down over here. So these dimples over in this corner is for my little score bit device. Those are not dimples. This is a dimple. This is a dimple. This is a dimple. This is a dimple. Dimple. This is a dimple. These are dimples. This is a dimple. All these little circles are basically dimples. Sometimes it's a little difficult if I have wire rails that also poke through. But in this case, everything's just a dimple. Cluster of dimples right here. I'm not looking forward to bending that rail. I'll tell you that much. Dimples. This are all dimples. These are dimples. I got one more. No, I think that's all the dimples. I'll know once I combine things and hide things. So let's path combine. Let's call this dimples. And stroke is going to be, oh, well, this color will be, make it dark blue, bluish. Stroke will go away. Now, when I hide all the dimples, let's make sure all the dimples actually hide. Oh, not what I want. Nope, I missed a dimple over here. That's a dimple. But I think I got all the others. Those are holes for the wood borders. Those are holes for the wood borders. Yep. All right. So I missed that one dimple. So I'll grab this dimple. Fine. That fix that. All right. The other thing I'm going to add to these dimples are the whatchamacallit, the T-nut little footprints insets that I have on the top here. All of these things. There's the 6 up there. There's the 2 down there, and I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it. So that's going to be combined with the dimple. These are going to be still called dimples. No stroke, blue fill. Hide that, make sure I got everything. Looks like I did. Now, these 4 holes here, I think I still haven't properly modified them. Let me open up SolidWorks for a second. Because I need to stop screwing this thing up. And I'm going to make that change now, so future me is not unhappy. I think those are supposed to be a 1/4 of an inch, but I think I keep forgetting to make it bigger. And on one of my playfield templates, I did make it bigger, but I think on these, I still have not. So playfield arch, under arch holes. Yeah, this is still 0.2. 0.25. These all need to be 0.25, not 0.2. And the flipper area. Is this the same problem? No, this is already set to point. All right. I'm going to save this so future me doesn't have to have this problem again. But current me, I'm going to need to grab this, and I'm going to need to replace all these holes here because I really don't want to re-export. These holes are going to be placed right in the middle here. It'll be close enough what I need. Here you can see the size difference, and that really does matter when trying to fit a T-nut into stuff. All of these are T-nuts. Here. What's going on there? Hang on a second. That does not look. There are just lots of oddities going on. Ouch. Down there. Oh, I combined the wrong hole. Of course I did. Combined the wrong hole. Of course I did. All right. Where are my dimples? Rid of that. Sure, this is in the middle here. Close to. This and this. F. Fine. All right. Enter these. Stop. What are you doing? Ow. Part of the reason is I keep feeling in my hand and the mouse keeps coming up. You. You here. Here. Again, these ultra minor pixel differences aren't going to make any difference with the cut, really, because the wood isn't that precise. It's not like I'm doing micron level CNC work here. Okay, so I got those now. All right, so now I'm going to make all the primary wood cuts through holes, which is effectively everything else on this playfield. Actually, I usually do the wood border separately, don't I? Yeah, so let's grab the wood border holes. I'm going to cut all these separate. Something else I'm also not going to cut is the lane guides on the bottom. I'm sorry, not lane guides. The lane switches, these slots, because I just don't need them right now. fine. I'm gonna make these into purple. Sure, I got them all. Like I did. This is wood border holes. You're gonna hide. I got all of that. All right. Let's delete these slots because I really don't need these. Everything else is a through hole. This hole needs to be widened. Does it? No, that's a yeah, that does. That's the wrong hell. All right. That's designed as a 632, not an 832. And I actually use 832s and 1032s here. That needs to be a little bit wider. Okay, now everything else I think is fine. Oh shit, did I delete the flipper holes by accident a while ago? I did delete the flipper hole. All right, I'll deal with that in a second. Because the flipper holes and the GI holes are like almost the same size, and I got confused. Just combine all this shit together. That hole. Oh, right, those are the right. Path, combine, vertices all need to merge together. This is going to be bright red. I'm sorry, the stroke is going to be none. This is going to be bright red. These are through vice holes. That's, for whatever reason, this one didn't selected. Path combine. Okay, hide the device holes. Now let's do the shape. Path combine. Select all the vertices, merge them. And then this thing, I usually do kind of a tan because it's playfield, it's wood. And this needs to go all the way down. Now let's look at all these things. Make sure everything's on there. You can see all the different layers and colors. And I did delete the flipper holes. So one easy way to do this is let's go back and copy another one of the... Actually, before I do any of this, File, save. It's going to be saved in playfield top. Okay. Playfield top. So I'm going to drag another one of these DXFs in here and do a similar dealy because this needs to become hairline again. Stroke style. Hairline. Now I can easily take this layer. I can match this layer up here. Do snapping. So this will snap right onto here if I'm not dumb about it. Seriously, if I'm not dumb about it, come on. Here we, dude, right there. Okay, and now let's ungroup this. Let's select these two holes and the device hole. Let's merge them or combine them. Device holes. Stroke, fill, red. Hide it. Hide all of these. All that's left is this old skeleton, which I no longer need. Show everything. Okay, now I have the flipper holes in there again. Yeah, note to self: don't delete flipper holes by accident if you're trimming things out. Okay, so this is effectively all the layer cuts, and as I said previously, these particular ramp footprints might be problematic with the toolpath generator I use. So I wanted them to be separate layers. And if they are, I'll turn them into 2 autonomous operations. And then that should be fine. I do love tea. All right. So now let's save this again. I'm not going to close this yet because, like I said, I might need to modify this. I'm going to open up my toolpath generator. This is LaserWeb. This is also a free program. And so let's add a document. Let's add not wood borders. Let's go to playfield Pumpkin King SVG. So here's the playfield. Oh, I forgot to add tabs for the playfield. Anyways, let's just see if this particular toolpath generates. If it does, then great. I can add the whatchamacallits tabs, and I can be on my merry way. Great single mill pocket. Yes. Tool speed 10, 1, 2, 3, 5 millimeters start, and it's gonna be minus 2 millimeters. Pass depth is 2 millimeters. Tool diameter is 2 millimeters. Step over. Plunge rate 300. Cut rate. Let's generate. See if this works. I really hope it does. And I don't think it's going to. Because it's already sitting here. But we'll give it a minute or so while it thinks about it. But yeah, I think, like I said, because this has I guess it's concave, no, convex. Because it has convex pieces, this program doesn't like calculating whatchamacallit, pockets with convex things. Concave. What the fuck is the? I keep forgetting. It's been a while. Concave. Okay, it is concave. It doesn't like generating things with concave parts. I don't know why. And yeah, you can see it's still kind of sitting here. So this tells me it. So that's why I wanted to check this before I did all the other parts and then realized that it was not good. Okay. let's hide everything except for um, device holes or ramp footprint bad maybe, which we know is now bad definitely. So let's copy this and edit, paste in place. So this is effectively duplicating this. So I'm going to hide one of these. Go in here. I need to edit these line segments, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. Delete these. Let's take these two and let's merge them. That doesn't really change the shape of that. Good. Let's delete these. Oh, why'd you do these? And I want you to merge. Let's see if I can clean up this one over here a little bit too. Get rid of that one extra polygon here. Merge that. So now this ramp, these two ramp footprints can be combined. Path combine. This can be ramp footprint good. Or ramp foot, we'll call it part A. This will be darker. Now comes kind of a little more annoying part, because this section I effectively need to delete these things, Oh, I don't like that. Delete these things. Okay, and then pull this up. So this is going to be like a cut block. And the same idea over here. And I think that'll be good enough. I'm not a fan of it because it's not... why? Are both these... Why I can't? Could I remove pull points on the vertex? Yeah, okay, I can click on that. And oh, what does this do? Anyway, if I click this, oh, that adds hand. Oh no, that's not what I want. Thought that would actually what is this? Does this just add a? Oh, fancy! Is that no? That just does a. Okay, that's not what I want. That doesn't actually add vertices. That just adds. Oops. Okay, so this is called ramp foot. Part B. And then when combined, it'll all kind of work out without a problem. Okay? So it needs to be two different operations, apparently. In this particular case. Save this. And now I need to add my tabs before I forget. Tabs, I usually use red, like direct red, not the hot pinky red. And how about we not snap now? That, 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 and that. So this just prevents the work area from shifting around when it's cutting the full size of the thing. Combine these. Path combine. Call it tabs. Okay. So there's tabs. Now go back to now this is probably going to work all right. Now this is probably going to work all right. If I take I don't want to select more granularly this one. Create single. Call this ramp B, because this is probably going to be fine. Mill cut, mill pocket. And 1, 2, 3, 5, start 0, -2, pass step 2, tool diameter 2, plunge rate 300, cut rate 100, 500. Now if I generate this, it worked really quickly that time. You can see the toolpath that's in there, and it goes 2 millimeters down from the top. And then this green line is the safe movement Z. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so this is good. So let's disable that. The first thing I like to do is the dimples. So let's actually no, I said the first thing I do is the big holes. We're gonna do big holes. Create single. This is mill inside. Big holes. Tool speed. Now my CNC doesn't read the tool speed, so I just put 10,000 for everything. Technically, I can change the tool speed based on cut. Eventually, I'll have a machine that can, but mine doesn't. Rapid Z is 5, start Z 0, end Z. Now, I think this is 13.7. Let me just consult. 0.5 inch to millimeter. 12.7, yeah, so I use 13.5 usually just so it goes a little bit deeper. 13 minus 13.5, pass depth 1.5. Final cut with tool diameter 2, plunge rate 300, cut rate 500. Let's do 400 just to really get good curves. Right now, every time I set a toolpath, I generate it just to see if it cuts the way I expect it to, and this did cut everything as I expect. See all the little red lines in there. So basically, what I can also do is I can simulate like what this is going to cut. So it's going to start off up here, cutting this one. If I rotate, you'll be, and then it's going to bounce around, or this way it seems, then maybe down, around, and up. Yeah, you can see how it's bouncing around. So that's going to be the what to expect when it cuts. So I kind of have an idea. And this is going to take about an hour and a half to cut all these big holes. And I'm going to have to be down there babying it during this time, generally, just to make sure these things don't pop out and cause problems. But once that's done, then I can get out of the cold, because it's going to be freezing in my garage today. I'll be, oh, don't do that. Yeah, okay, so this worked. That's big holes. Next is the dimples. That is which one? shape. That's the outlines. Actually, what I can do, I can do these wood border holes because this takes a toll on my tool because it heats them up, and then I can do the dimples after that because the dimples will cool it down because not a lot is used. So let's do that. I'll create single mill cut inside wood border holes. Full speed 10,000, 5 minus 13.5. Start is 0. End is minus 13.5. Pass depth 0.5. Tool diameter 2. Plunge rate 300. Cut rate 100. I mean, it's tiny little circles, so it's not going to be that big deal. And you didn't. Because my tool diameter is too big. 1.9. 0.5. Am I not seeing? Start is 0, end is that. Pass depth 1. Why are you not generating my toolpath? Cut rate, plunge rate. Outside? Why are you not why are you not cutting my path? Point 1. Let's see if I can at least get something. Yeah, nothing's generating. Oh, what is going on here? I mean, it sees all of them. I'm not seeing an error down here. All right, come on. Create sync. Mill cut inside. 10,000. 5, 0, minus 13.5. 1.5. 2. Plunge rate 300. Cut rate 300. Generate. Oh my god, there's something wrong with this. What is wrong with this? I wonder. Do I need they're already combined. Recombine them? Okay, let's do that. Let's drag this thing. Oh no, let's add this. Add it again. I have multiple copies of the same document. Let's try doing things with this path. Let's generate. It's still not generating the wood border holes. Why is it not generating the wood border holes? Even with a tool diameter of 1, it's what the fuck is going on? Oh, for Christ's sake. Stupid problem. diameter here. Diameter here is 1/8 of an inch. It's perfectly fine for 2 millimeter. There's something wrong with the rid of this. See if there's any other issues. Grade single, mill cut inside, through holes, or device holes. And 1, 2, 3, 5, 13.5, 5, full diameter 2, plunge rate 300, cut rate 400. Generate. It's not generating this either. Something all of a sudden just stopped working. Just fucking something just stopped working. What's going on? I know these are fine. Raster preview. Great single. No cut inside. Through holes. Did I click some option down here by accident that I didn't mean to? I mean, I'm really confused what's going on here. 3, 5, 13.5, 1.5, 2, 300, 400. Generate. Okay, now it works. The program got into some weird ass state that I don't know. I have no idea what's going on because this is working fine now. Let's disable this. Let's start with this again. Great single. Mill cut inside. Large. 10, 1, 2, 3, 5, 13.5, 5. Full diameter 2, plunge rate 300, cut rate 500. Okay, so that did those fine. Next is going to be, let's try these wood border holes again. This is when everything went astray. Mill cut inside. Border holes. Full speed 10, 1, 2, 3, 5, minus 13, 5, 1.5, 2, 300, 300. Okay, it's working. I don't know. I don't know what happened with the program. I didn't change a damn thing compared to what it was previously, so I don't know. I honestly have no idea. So device holes are definitely going to be further down. Okay, so now that's wood border holes. Now we're going to do dimples. Create single. Name. Dimples. Mill cut. Mill pocket. Pose. Going to be 10, 1, 2, 3. Rapid C 5. Minus 2. 2 millimeter deep. Mass depth 2. 2. 300. 300. Make sure that it's all nice Like some of these are good. Well, it doesn't need to be generate. Okay, there's yeah. So all these whatchamacallit, peanut holes are good. The dimples look like they all got simplified, which is good. You can see this line bouncing all over the place here. All good. Those are all good. Okay. Nice holes. Okay, so the dimples. Now we're gonna do the ramp footprint. So I'm gonna combine both of these ramp footprint, and this one into one operation because first it's gonna do one set, then it's gonna go back into the other one. And I am doing this separate from dimples. Sometimes I combine them all together, kind of like what I did with the T-nut um, insets, but I wanted to separate them. So create single. This is going to be no pocket ramp heat 3.5 minus 13.5. Oh, then not minus 13.5. This is 2. That would be catastrophic. It's 2. Pass depth is 2. Full diameter 2. Segment, no, 300, 400. This is going to take a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, yeah, and this succeeded fine. You can see all those footprints. Now the device holes are next, and I've already added the device holes. Then what? I guess it's just the shape is create single, and now the shape has tabs on it. This is going to be mill cut outside. Tool speed 10, 1, 2, 3, 5, start 13.5, pass depth 1.5, tool diameter 2, plunge rate 300, cut rate 100, 700. And then the tab depth. So the depth at which the tabs stop cutting is going to be 7 millimeters. You'll see this when I generate this. So if we look at the tabs now, if I rotate this somehow, see how right where the tab would be? It's in perspective view, so it's a little weird. But right where the tab would be, it just stops cutting down. That way the playfield material doesn't shift around too much. Okay, so now comes the full-blown test to make sure I didn't miss anything. First, let's save this. Playfield top. Oh, I'm saving the workspace so in case something goes wrong, I can come back and modify it. Now let's generate everything. Once that's done, hopefully there's nothing missing. So it's easy to tell if something's missing if something doesn't have a line on it, but it looks like everything has lines on it. Yeah, it looks like every one of these things has some kind of line pointing into it, or on it, or around it, which is fantastic. All those have lines in there, all those cut through, all those cut through. All right, I think this toolpath set is good to go. So let's save this as the playfield. So the playfield file, just so you know, is 11 megs. Like the G code here is 11 megs. And if I open this up in TextPad, this is kind of what the G code looks like, right? It's just a bunch of sections. So for instance, the first operation is the where is it? Operation 0. Oh yeah, operation 0 is large holes. Usually it says the name of it. That's just, but it doesn't seem to want to do it right now. But anyways, 13 and 15, and you can see it's setting it to so that's the depth, that's the speed is 300 for the first plunge, and then the speed is set to 500, and this is just all the different segments, and the paths are broken up into if I can find another one. So much text in here, it just goes quick. Okay, path 4. Let's look for operation. So here's operation 1. This is the wood border holes. Operation 2, this is the dimples, and you can see it's a pocket. Operation 3 is another pocket. This is the ramp feet. There are 8 paths. And when it says paths, it effectively means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8 for the secondary ones. Operation 4, device holes, mill cut inside. Operation 5 is the shape of the playfield, and it's mill cut outside with everything. So it's all in there. And it's 11.5 megs. Again, I'm going to save this because I'm paranoid. That's the playfield. The next set of things I need to do is stretch, but I need to prepare the send cut send rails, because all these things, it's great, but if I don't have the rails, it's less great. Before I do any of this, I'm going to commit this to my repository, so hang on 1 second, please. Did field toolpaths for V2 design. For anyone curious, it's just basically me giving a a message information, and a list of files that go to my. Once that's done committing, then I will start working on this other thing. I just don't want flash problems. Actually, I guess. Oh no, I did modify the playfield a little bit. I don't want to necessarily open that. Actually, I didn't modify any of the metals, so this. Okay, so now in my directory tree under CNC, I have something called sheet metal that I prepared, and there's going to be guides, mechs, and ramps. And these, I'm going to put step files generally in there that I can send to send cut send, except some of them I'm going to flatten out because they're weirdly angled. And if I send a weirdly angled thing to send cut send, it doubles the price almost. So as long as it's like orthogonal, then it calculates better. Open. Go. Let's go to design. SolidWorks parts. Metal guides. All right, so there's. What's this spinner thing? Ah, yes, that's the full assembly. That's not the guide. Okay, so metal guide. Inner spinner. This stupid little thing. If I choose the top here, so I'm basically all of these I'm gonna convert to sheet metal and flatten. For sheet metal, yeah, flatten. And then when you look at the top, you know, this is not great. Um, so file, new, assembly, no, drawing. Because I really don't want it to be like that. Custom size. This will be like 10 or 5 inch. Oh, for Christ. Not millimeters. File, new, drawing from part. 5 inches by 5 inches. Flat pattern. Get rid of all these annotations, properties. One, document. Get rid of all of that. Let's rotate this a little bit just so it's minus 4, 5, 8, 7, 5. Wait, 4, 5, 2, 5. That's good enough. Just so it's more orthogonal. Then this, resize the sheet property. Be what, like 2 inches by 2 inches maybe. It's a small part. All right. And file, save as guides. This is going to be saved as a DXF. So whenever I make drawings like this, it's going to be a DXF. And I'm not going to save all these as sheet metal because it screws some stuff up. Okay, metal guide. Get the top down. This is another one that I'm going to need to do just because I've made all these not perfectly oriented. For sheet metal, bends, flatten. I'll create drawing from part. Okay, this is going to be 2 inches by, start with 20 inches. 20 inches by 2 inches. Flat pattern. Yeah, and get rid of all the annotations. Make sure this is 1-to-1. Okay, that works out pretty well. Up over here. And then the sheet needs to be a little bit bigger. So instead of it being 20, this probably 15 inches, and this is 2.5 inches. That's about right. That'll work. Throw that right there. File, save as. Also going to be sheet metal. Sorry, DXF. Really? Metal guide outer. Okay. Metal guide inner. Wonder if I grab from this. Sketch. I'm sorry. Sheet metal. Convert to sheet metal. Select all pins. Flatten. I think I can do this because this. Yeah, because then when it calculates it, it'll figure it out. So I can save this one as um a step. And I usually choose step AP 203. Come on. Step AP 203. I think if I do it this way, then it will orient okay. You convert to sheet metal, collect all bends, flatten. I'll save as step. And wash, rinse, repeat a whole bunch of times. Yeah, I think doing it this way actually will fix some of these problems. It'll flatten, save as step, which actually means I bet you if I take this, because I've already done this one right, but if I get it straight on, and then I flatten this like I have been, sheet metal, collect all bends, flatten. Yeah, I think this will work better. I'd rather send steps. Not IGS, I want step. Then I'll do it with that first one I did also. Now that I have a better flow of things. If it is sheet metal, or sheet metal, collect all bend. Okay, flatten. Save as. Step here. Where was I? I was at Pumpkin King right. Ah, this one. Big boy. For sheet metal, collect all bends, flatten. One of the biggest rails on this game actually, because of what it has. Step. I'll convert sheet metal. Where's my sheet metal? Ends, yeah. And flatten. Now let's make sure this one looks correct. Yep, and you can see this cut right here is all good because that's the little flangey thing that's bending in. So that should be fine. And you can see also, now that this is flat, I actually have more space here. Why is... Oh, right. Yeah, I actually have some more space here, so I could extend this a little bit more if I so chose to. This is good. This is the spinner one. This is a complex thing. Let's use this bend. Convert to sheet metal, collect all bend. Okay, and when I flatten this, look at that. Look at that thing, huh? What an oddly shaped thing. But it's, now that this is flat, you can see easily, like, this line right here and this line right here are my bend points, but I marked the bend point with this little flange here, and I marked this bend point by being right near this piece. So I know exactly where I need to bend this. And it's all 90 degrees, it's not like weird shapes. And I know exactly where I need to bend this because it's right next to this little thing right here. So it should be good. And then same with these. These lines are all like right next to, their associated flanges or within a small piece of it. So it should be easy enough to figure out. Save as. Step file. Then this guy. Loft. Vert. Flatten. Save as. And step. I think that's the last one of these rails. Yeah, so that is 10 rails. Next, I need to do the ramps. So I got 3 ramps. I have a launch ramp. Convert to sheet metal. Collect all bends. Flatten. So here's the launch ramp. And again, I know where to bend these things because I made little markers on this. So right in this hole, right in the middle of this hole is right. I bend that. And right after this edge is where I bend the initial thing down. And it's not quite 90 degrees, but it'll be close enough. If I make it 90 degrees and I kind of push the ramp in, it'll kind of flatten it and it'll work out okay. Now, this piece right here, this is less known as to where I need to bend it, but it's less of an issue also, because this is really just the ramp going up, and I can kind of do a quick measurement in Mickey Mouse where that is. And now, in this cross piece here, I know I go from basically a little bit off the corner to a little bit off the corner, and it just bends straight 90 degrees. So this won't be difficult to figure out. This is entry ramp step. Then I have the left orbit ramp. Convert to sheet metal. Okay, this one I didn't make a mark here, but I also don't really know exactly how I want to do this. And I can also judge based on the slot, because instead of it just being a circle, I have a little bit more. So I'll show you in a second. So if I look at this part exactly, so the distance from this line here to the distance to the and the distance, like to the line to the top of the slot and the bottom to the top of the slot, it's relatively similar, especially once the bend has occurred. So that's how I can kind of judge it. And then obviously this other line is like right after. So I can Mickey Mouse it a little bit and it'll be fine. And this it's all marked with all these little in cuts and everything, so I know exactly where that. Save this as step. And the last ramp I need to do is this complex son of a bitch. For sheet metal, collect all bends. Flatten it. Boy, oh boy, look at this thing, huh? Most of these things are marked based on kind of ideation of what I wanted. Again, all these little lines are kind of within the same distance from corners and everything. Like this is near that corner. This one, not so much. It's going to be a little interesting, so I'm going to need to measure this. But this line and this line are like the bend down points. So again, it's not as critical as say like these flanges or these flanges and because this section right here needs to line up perfectly into here. So this bend is pretty critical, and these two bends are pretty critical, but not so much these. Anyways, most of it is marked, and I'll be able to figure it out mostly. This bend section here is really only critical in lining up this hole. So once this is in the reverse ramp and this is mounted on the reverse ramp, I can manhandle this bend a little bit to align it with this hole, and then it just will kind of work like an accordion kind of. But everything else is more particular. Anyways, save as step. Okay, so those are those ramps. I actually need to make a new directory called flaps. I need to export all the ramp flaps. Well, so if you remember, okay, so here's left ramp. I'll save, and most of these are just flat anyways. So I can generally just save these as steps. So there's one flap, here's another flap. I'll save as step file. And now the launch ramp and the side ramp. The launch ramp and the side ramp both use the same flap. So launch ramp, where is it? Left orbit ramp. And the left orbit ramp, I've already flattened that flap also. Remember. So this is used on both of them. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to save this as the step file, and I'm going to order 2 of them. Now the last set of flaps that I need are actually not in Pumpkin King. It's in the standard stern flaps. Pinball parts. Stern parts. It's these ramp flaps. Oh. So this I am going to convert to sheet metal. Select all bends and flatten. And then save this as a step in my flap, and I'll call it, yeah, it's Led Zeppelin ramp flap. And I need 2 of these, 1 for each ramp. Okay, so that's good. Now, if you'll hang on 1 second while I get, not that. It's set up with send cut send. Okay, Pumpkin King guides. All right, so Pumpkin King guides here. This. Yes, I'm blocking the left side because there's some things that I'm playing around with. You'll find out about eventually. So for Pumpkin King, let's start with this is under guides. So I can grab all the step files I have and I can just drag and drop them into upload, and everything should upload and look good. Yeah, and I can observe these things and select it. And select. Guess I can't unselect all, but whatever. If I take a look at this guide and I look at it in 2D, can I get to a 2D view? Can't really get to a 2D view. All right, well, for funsies, let's add this to the cart. Let's see what the 2D looks like. Sheet metal. Stainless steel 304. And I usually use 0.6. Yeah, a buck and a half. Yeah, okay, so if we look at the 2D sketch, you see it flattened it out pretty nicely. Stop it. It flattened it out pretty nicely here. So good. That makes my life easier. I now know what to do. Next, I don't do any bending. I don't do any finishing on this. Okay, add more drawings. So let's add more of these. Then I can kind of show you what the prices kind of look like with this. Oop, that's not what I do. Want to hang on 1 second while I add all these things. Add selected to cart. Hey, there we go. Sheet metal materials. All of these are going to be stainless steel 304, 0.06. Okay, let's view the cart. So now, these are some of the devices for like the down posts and things that I'm playing around with. But if we look at this stuff, it's all flat. I'm gonna bend it myself, and this thing right here is $20. So let's see what's going on with this. If I look at it 2D, yeah. So it's an expensive one. Most of these are around $2 to $4. This one's 14. What's going on with this? Yep. This one also is $20, as I kind of expected. Like I said, this is a big one. And so yeah, most of these. Oh, this one's 21. Yeah, yeah, that's a big guy, big boy too. So I mean, there's a couple big ones, obviously. This one's only $6, but remember, this is that weirdly shaped one with the spinner. $20 for this thing. Yeah, so I got a 20, 20, 11, and 14. 20. I'm a little surprised that this one's 20. To be honest, I'm a little surprised this one's 20. I wonder if it's because it's this orientation. See, it says the cutting area is 3 by 23, so I mean, and this is 1 by 23, so I think it's fine. 14 by 19. 11. 16 by 2. is 14. So 20, 23. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Size different. All right. All right, let's add this into the bill of materials while I'm here. Because yes, this is something that needs to be upkept. There's manufacturing bill of material. All right, so what I've done on the bill of materials so far, I've organized things a little bit more. But if I go to up a little bit, then cut send, I've already created like an itemized list from a first check with this. And you can see for each one of these, I have it for different levels of parts, right? Because when I make 10 of these, I'm going to actually be in this realm. So according to this, previously, all these ramp pieces would have been, or all these guides and ramps would have been $80 combined instead of 100 something, instead of 146 when I buy a single of them. So let's see how things changed because I have modified a few things. So starting with the spinner loop left, this thing. So let's click on this. And so this is 5. Yeah, spinner loop left. Really spinner loop left. It changed in price. Hold on. What was that? Metal guide spinner loop left. Metal guide spinner loop left. Yeah, okay, that changed in price. So that's good. Maybe because I reoriented it better. So one is 661. 661, 512, 398, 294, 230. So that's nice that changed in price. Some of the other ones will increase in price though. The next one is metal guide inner ramp outer. Metal guide inner, okay, that's inner orbit. I want inner ramp. Metal guide inner ramp outer. This one. So this was, yeah, so this went down a little bit too. 4.39. So orientation makes a lot of difference. Just remember that. 3.5, 2.8, 7, 1.88, 1.5. Okay, metal guide inner orbit inner is next. Metal guide inner orbit outer. Metal guide inner orbit inner. So 1.54, 1.23. This didn't change. Yeah, this didn't change. Okay. Metal guide left orbit outer. Metal guide left orbit outer. This is, yeah, this went down a little bit. 2019 because it's not as tall as it previous was. This flange right here used to go way up and bend, but now it's shorter. So this makes sense that it's going to be a little bit cheaper. Not by much, but a few cents is a few cents. 14.34, 10.31, 8.09, 6.41. Okay, metal guide left orbit inner. Metal guide left orbit inner. 1498. 1498, 62. Okay, this didn't change. spinner loop right. Metal guide, spinner, loop right, 542. Okay, this became a little more expensive. I think I did modify this a little. Spinner loop right, so 541 or 542, 5.42, 4.34, 3.213. Yeah, okay, and that all stays the same. Metal guide right orbit outer. Metal guide right orbit outer. 21.47. This one up a tickle because I did modify this a little bit. 21.47. 15.26. Yeah, that went up like neg. Okay, pumpkin right is the next one. That is probably this one, 2.22. This one up a tickle also. 2.22, 1.78. 1.78. 151, 116. Okay. Metal guide inner orbit outer. Metal guide inner orbit outer was 1110. Oh wow, this went down quite a bit. Right, because I changed how some of these things. Okay. Metal guide inner orbit outer is now 11.10, 8.62, 6.15, 4.46, and 3.72. And then metal guide right orbit inner. Metal guide right orbit outer. Metal guide right orbit inner. This went down a little bit too. 20.58. 15.98. 10.34. 8.15. And 6.8. So those all went down a little bit. So that decreased the cost a little bit. That's fantastic. All right, let's go back to parts. Let's go to Pumpkin King Miscellaneous. So this is going to have the ramps and the flaps. So let's load the 3 ramps. And let's upload. I didn't save this properly. Save as step. All right, now and the 4 flaps. Okay, so I'm not going to upload all of them at once because the flaps are a different material. These guys are going to be the same material. So let's add these to cart. Yeah. Sheet metal. Sheet metal. Stainless steel, 304.06. Do cart. Okay, now let's update costs of these things. So I have 3 ramps here. The entry ramp, 1050. Entry ramp, Yeah, so this changed a little bit because I modified a couple things. Entry ramp is now 1050, 814. And truth be told, this entry ramp design, it's probably one I'll use with all my other games. So I mean, ultimately, I could probably buy 100 of these, and I'll be good because it'll be a common part, right? 814, 575, 412, 344. Okay. Ramp left orbit drop. Left orbit drop. This one. 11.98. 9.29. 6.57. 4.7. 3.92. Right ramp return base. And this increased also because I added additional little cuts down here. So that this is expected. 1045, 8.08, 5.75, 4.27, 3.56. Now I have flaps, so let's get rid of. Oh, actually, let's insert some columns here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have flaps. So I have 3 different flaps because a couple of them are going to be doubled, right? Which is going to make things a little more complex. But anyways, go back to my parts. All right, so these flaps I have four flap styles. I have ramp. Not gonna. Okay. So let's add all these to part. Sheet metal. This is gonna be spring steel. Or I guess. So that is 0.4 millimeters, which is a 16th of an inch of Oh, that's really thin, isn't it? That's really thin. See. One. Look. I want to see what standard spring steel is. Okay. Oh, that's actually thick. Okay, we can. So Marco sells 0.1 inch or 0.01 inch and 0.006. So for ramps, I usually use the 0.01 inch. So that's a little thicker than that. So actually, that'll be perfectly fine. Might even be heavier duty than I really need. But okay, cool. Art. Yeah. Okay. I don't need view cart. Okay. Let's see what the spring steel costs. Oh, that's not too bad, especially considering I need 2 of these. I need 2 of these. I mean, that's not too bad for spring. Okay, so let's start with the ramp flap inner. And this is 3.62, 2.2, 0.02, 1.62, 1.41. Back orbit. Guess I don't need the step listed there, do I? All right, back orbit is 3.11, 2.43, 1.74, 1.44, 1.2. Close. I'll do the Led Zeppelin one. Ramp flap left orbit is, and remember, I need two of these because it's technically the same ramp as the entry. So the singular one, 2.50, doesn't matter. 1.95, 1.40, 1.17, 1.04. It basically becomes down to a buck each. You get 1,000 of them. That ain't bad. And then the Led Zeppelin one. I wanted to put this last since this is a more specialized thing. 3.38, 2.64, 1.57, 2.64, 1.89, 1.57, 1.37. So that's for that ramp flap. Okay, so I think this should sum all of that together. It does. So the total sheet metal cost for singles effectively is going to be 154 bucks that I need to order this weekend, and it's going to be a $2 less because I do need to get two Led Zeppelin and two left orbit things. So it's gonna save me a buck and a half or something, but whatever. But it's basically gonna be 154. Shipping is usually free. Then add tax, $170, whatever it is. So close that. Yeah, this says 300 because I have all this other shit in here, which I might remove some of this stuff. I don't need this. Getting 10 of those. Down posts, I need that. I'm getting 10 of those. That's the. You need the. Yeah, you see, I'm getting 10 of a bunch of these things that aren't necessarily needed per se. So that alone adds like 150 bucks onto the cost of this. That's whatever. Um, yeah, so that's whatever. Cool, cool. Okay, so that's sheet metal taken care of, and in total playfield parts, I think I have sheet metal listed in here somewhere. Yeah, send cut send rails here, 83 bucks. So the total cost of this playfield is now around $2,000, but this does have a roughly $200 buffer between my miscellaneous parts that I may still need and my hardware, which I listed. I have a hardware buffer up here. Oh, 27 plus 85, so that's another 200. So this is really around $1,800, give or take, for this playfield, which is cool. Which brings my totals, like if I make this playfield actually 1,800, that brings things down decently enough, so I still have a net of that. Now, something I don't have in here that I do need to work into this. Oh, also notice I made the MSRP 5,995.95 because why not? Something I don't have in here is ULFCC except, and unfortunately, this is probably going to be around $8,000 that I need to. Well, no, I shouldn't add that onto there. I need to add that onto. I need to add that somewhere else. So let's put this ULFCC set, and this is going to be dollars 8,000, 8,000, and this is then going to be divided across sales units. What am I doing? This divided by the sales units. Oh, that's like an extra $1,000 on top of this. Oh, emission or regulation equals this. So technically that's the added cost to that, and now I'm underwater here. So this is the kind of thing that I'm mucking around with, which is why I want to get stuff as low as possible to help alleviate this problem. One way to do it is to increase the number of units. So sales, technically this equals this minus 2. So if I increase the number of sales units to 20 units, then that does offset everything because that also changes the per unit cost of this thing. And there's a sweet spot. If I say 15 units, then that still works out. That still gets over the hump. 12 units, 13 units, 14 units. You can see the total sales net, it is going up with this. And this is all kind of what I'm fiddling around with right now because I don't know really what this value is. It could be 8,000, it could be 4,000. If it's 4,000, then I mean, who cares? Because then 10 is still viable. As long as I'm not negative, that's all that matters. And if I have to, I can make this 65 again, and that helps offset these things. And that just barely makes me break even. It just doesn't help that I would like this to also pay for a trip to Expo too. So this doesn't really cut it quite. I'd like a little bit more of a buffer for that. I'd also like it to pay for my my warehouse, my shop a little bit more. So if we throw in shop cost, and we'll just say for shits, $1,000. It's not this, but let's say it's 1,500 divided by the total units sold. Come on. That divided by the total units sold. Really? Format. Currency. Here is that double click again. Or format. Currency. There we go. So that's saying it's an extra 1,800 per unit. So it's like, eh. So if it can at least help a little bit with that, it'd be nice. But anyways, that's the kind of thing I'm mucking around with right now. Let's get rid of all of that, all those changes. So I don't know. I really don't know. Back to 1,000, and I'm gonna set this back equal to this. let's make this 5,000 just so numbers aren't negative right now. I don't know what this is. And a lot of this might just come out of my own pocket, to be honest, for this one. Something else to keep in mind, if I go beyond 10 units, now I'm going to be buying more metal ramps. And metal ramps, I might need to just redesign them myself because it'll save money. Those Stern metal ramps are like $150 each, so that's like $300 addition onto the game if I were to buy it from retail, versus if I designed new ones and made them myself, it would probably cut that down to like $50 per ramp. But that's still a $50 add-on price for anything over 10 that I need to worry about. So, yeah. I hope this was informative today. I'm maybe in an hour I'm gonna start cutting things. I need to clean off my CNC machine a little bit. But yeah, Pumpkin King, the toolpaths are all set. Sheet metal is all kind of in there. I am going to trim this video a little bit, and I'm not going to let this video stay on YouTube because I just realized that my address was listed on there. So I'm going to kill that. But, yeah. I'll see y'all later.